Good afternoon, my whammies. Stephanie Kelzer here, Program Director of the Master Angler Program. And I wanted to take the opportunity to go over the Master Angler Program, rather. Most of you know already what this is, but some of you are newbies. And I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows what the Master Angler Program is. And some of what the rules are and some helpful tips and tricks and frequently asked questions. And with that, I invited one of our directors, Nick Tabert. She is with the tournament director along with Shantae. And so Nick is going to be helping me go through. We have a little presentation for you. And she'll help also provide some helpful tips and tricks that she knows from judging some of the tournaments and competitions that we have. So welcome, Nick. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure. So we'll get started. Let me go ahead and pull up our presentation. So like I mentioned, this is the Master Angler Program, tips, tricks, and frequently asked questions. So starting off, I'm going to actually do this, put this over on this screen because I can't see that small. Getting old sucks. You can't see stuff.
That presbyopia kills you.
You got it. So here the opening slide just kind of talks about what our Master Angler Program is. It's one of our most popular programs. I can tell you when I started managing it 3 years ago, we were getting about 80 Master Angler submissions per year. And as of last year, we were about triple that. So it's become a very popular program. I think that everybody gets excited about master anglers and you catch a fish and, the first thing they'll say is, oh my gosh, is it a master angler? Is it a master angler? So it makes my heart very happy to know that the members love this program. And I'm certainly happy to run it and to highlight these wonderful catches that you beautiful ladies catch. The contest year runs from April 1st through March 31st every year. So we're a few weeks, or I guess I should say that's the last day of the month. So we're 1 month into the new season, and we've already caught quite a few or have quite a few submissions for Master Angler. So very exciting. And on the right-hand side of the screen, what you'll see is what fish are part of the Master Angler categories. You'll notice at the top is our core categories. These are what we consider to be core fish, probably the most commonly caught fish around any part of Minnesota, trying to keep it equal and fair for all of our whammies across not only Minnesota, but really anywhere. And then you'll notice that we have the specialty category. They're pretty common everywhere as well, but we consider these more specialty. And then we have our ref category. Those are the fish that typically most anglers don't want to target and catch. And I actually think it's fun to target those because it teaches different techniques and highlights a catch of what probably most likely wouldn't be considered a celebration. So we've got a list of basically all of the species that qualify that are part of our Master Angler Program.
I always get a kick out of the freshwater drum because their eyes look like human eyes.
I think they look like derps. But that's just me. I don't know. All right, moving on. Let's talk about what the rules are. There are some basic rules, and just for everybody's knowledge, all of this information can be found on the Women Anglers of Minnesota website. Once you log in, and I'll go over that in just a minute, but once you log into the portal and you go to the MA program, all of these rules are going to be included. So you certainly have a chance to view all of the rules there. But I just thought it would be nice to lay them out here in a place for everybody to be able to see them. So the basic criteria of the rules are you must be a current member. Whenever you submit a master angler fish, you have to have 2 photos. So one of you holding the fish, that's what we call a hero photo. So smile and say cheese for that beautiful picture. And of course, the other one is the picture of the fish on the bump board. This is how I verify that it is indeed a master angler fish. So the bump board, the entire fish, those are the 2 photos, not more. And there's only 2 spots, so two pictures. You can't give me all 60 that you caught on your film camera roll. And also, you don't have a release video that's required, so no release videos.
Which is nice.
Important to note here, and this is not only for the Master Angler program, but this applies to, I believe, some of our tournaments and competitions, that the mouth must be closed. And if not, then a 1-inch penalty will be incurred. Now, that might seem a little extreme and unfair, because I realize that having the mouth open doesn't necessarily mean that the fish is 1 inch in length greater just because the mouth is open. But it's really meant to be that we want you guys to really do your best to get that mouth closed. Otherwise, a 1-inch penalty will be incurred.
Yeah, the crappie is the hugest one that you can really get some length on if you don't have that mouth closed.
Sure. Yeah, they got that big old jaw, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think this one's pretty fair and simple, but you must be the person to set the hook. You can't go out with a guide or go out with your husband or girlfriend or wife and have them hook the fish and then say, here, honey, why don't you reel this one in? That's kind of a big no-no. And, we're on the honor policy here. So hopefully we can all, make sure that we're doing things correctly, but you must be the person that sets the hook and reels the fish in. And of course, WAM is all about conservation for fish. And so all of the fish must be released back into the water, especially when you're talking about master angler fish. These are extraordinary lengths, right? These are fish that have lived a very long time. They're good breeders. We want them to go back and spawn and make more master angler fish for us to catch in the years to come. And this is the primary reason why we removed salmon this year, because I know that it was very controversial. Actually, it might have been last year, but it was very controversial in the sense that I know that people go fishing for salmon to eat, and there's nothing wrong with that. And so we thought, rather than it, being a sore subject, if you will, that we would just, to preserve it. And if people want to fish for salmon for food, then please, by all means, go ahead and do that. So all fish must be released. If you do have a master angler fish that you want to submit, then it must be submitted within 30 days of your catch. Pretty straightforward. And last but not least, and this certainly applies to Wham Slam, I know that we don't even have fishing season opener here yet here in Minnesota, but the fish must be caught during the season of where you're at, right? So obviously Wisconsin's different, Iowa's different, but let's just use Minnesota as an example. So right now, walleye season, pike season, game fish season's not open. So if somebody were to submit a pike or muskie or a walleye or a bass, those are not currently in season, so they would not be accepted. So just make sure that you know your regulations if you're submitting a master angler, and just ensure that the fish that you're submitting is actually legal to catch and in season wherever you are fishing. Same applies to Wham Slam.
Yes, and we see that every once in a while, but we leave it to the members that they need to know the rules, because we're not going to sit and look where you're fishing.
Yeah, it does become cumbersome. So we, do your best. We know that it's hard to know all the rules, and we're here to help and look things up, but definitely do your due diligence and knowing where you're fishing and what's legal there, please. All right, moving on to the next slide. So we briefly talked about, We briefly talked about bump boards. In the past couple of years, we've kind of gone through a few iterations, if you will, of what approved bump boards are. And it's a hard thing to really hone in on a list, right? We want to make sure that it's fair for everybody. We want to make sure that it's easy for the judges. The thing that really stinks is you get this a submission, whether it's on Fish Donkey or whether it's Master Angler, and you can't see the measurement lines, or they can be manipulated. So if the 90-degree angle isn't stationary, and perhaps it's not 100%, or it's not 90 degrees but it's 85, right, then it just kind of opens up a can of worms as to whether or not it truly is the length that is being stated. So the board came up with a list of what's approved. This also goes for the tournaments and competitions as well. And this list is located on the website for under the MA submission. So feel free to go check that out if you have any questions. But I'm not going to go through all of these at the moment. But here you can see which ones are preferred, which ones allowed, which ones are not allowed. So make sure that you have an approved bump board with you. I will say that me personally, I was always using the Rapala foldable Magnum, and it was so easy to carry, and a little bit bummed about that, but totally understand why, with that 90-degree angle not being, you know, stationary, if you will. There was definitely room for error with that. So if you're planning on going out to go fishing and you think that there's potential of you catching a master angler and you want to potentially submit it, please make sure that you have one of the allowed or preferred bump boards before you head out. And if you have questions on whether or not your bump board is approved, feel free to reach out to myself or to Nick or DeShante, and we can certainly talk through what you have and whether or not it's usable.
And make sure that those plastic bump boards that you have blackened out the lines and stuff, because they can get really hard to see if it's not blackened.
For sure. Yeah, just go through a little Sharpie and just on the line and the numbers. You don't need to blacken in the whole thing, but just, making it easier for the judges and myself to be able to see. And for the last part of this page is that any fish that are longer than your device, so you catch yourself a 42-inch pike, right? But your bump board only goes to 37. So what do you do? What you're going to do is you're going to have your bump board. You're going to take a metal measuring tape and you're going to run it alongside. Make sure it starts right at the 90-degree angle where the mouth is, not at the end of the board, but right where the mouth is. And you're going to run it alongside. And then what's going to happen is that we'll be able to see that additional length matched up next to the bump board to verify that it is that length. If not, then the measurement will only go to the end of the bump board. And if that does not make it qualify for a master angler, then it will be denied. So keep that in mind if you're going for big fish and your bump board is not big enough for a potential fish that you're going to catch. Make sure in your bag of tricks that you keep a metal measuring tape with you.
Yeah, we just had that happen with somebody with a sturgeon, that they had their bump board, but they forgot their measuring tape.
It happens. So we're just trying to prepare you guys to make sure you have everything that you need to be successful. All right, moving on. It sounds like somebody's doing laundry back there. Are you doing laundry?
Oh, making supper.
Oh, yep. It's almost that time. All right. So now we're going to go through how do you submit a qualifying fish. So for a lot of you newbies, maybe you've never done it, you've never heard of this program, and you say, okay, I'm interested. So how do I actually do this? So let's go through that process. So you're going to go to the womenanglersofminnesota.com website, not the Facebook page, but to the actual website. And you're going to log in the top right-hand corner. You should have a username and password that allows you to access what we call our members only portal that the general public can't see. So the Master Angler Program submission form is part of what's only for the members. And once you're logged in, you'll see on that top toolbar on the green part, you'll see it says Master Angler Program. I put a little red arrow, might be kind of hard to see there, but it says Master Angler Program. So that's where you're going to click. It's going to take you to the submission form. It's going to give you the rules and some other links, but on the bottom of it, you'll see submission form. I have the other little red arrow going there, and you're going to click submission form. And then next, I'm a few slides behind over here on mine, you're going to complete the form in entirety. All of the mandatory items that are needed for me to appropriately verify that the fish is a master angler, they're all marked in a red asterisk. So, your name, your email address, the date of the catch. It's going to give you a list of all of the qualifying species, and you're going to select which species. You're going to put the length in there. No need to add the inch mark or the word inches. You can just put in like 10.25 or, and please round to quarters. And if you're close, I want you to round down. So if you are at
10.37.
10.22. You're going to round down to a 10, right? So don't put in 10.22, just put in 10. Thank you for that, Nick.
we have brain farts.
We do. It happens. Also, so you know, at the end, once you've completed the form, when you click submit, you will get a copy of your submission. So please check your email after you've submitted. That way you know for sure, in fact, it was submitted correctly. And I don't know, I guess I didn't finish that sentence, so shame on me, but submissions can take up to 2 to 3 weeks for me to review, especially with you guys doing as many wonderful catches. And I really like to highlight people as much as possible. I don't want to just go and post 40 of them on Facebook all in the same day, and then everybody's trying to, you know, congratulate everybody. I like to give everybody their time in the spotlight. So I tend to do, you know, depending 10 to 15 per time. And that's why, depending on where you're at, and I highlight them first come, first serve. So I go straight down the list. I don't prioritize anybody over anybody else. So if you happen to see that I posted 10 master anglers and you submitted one and yours isn't there yet, and you say, well, did you get mine? It's probably going to be in the next batch, because we just have so many that we just like to make sure everybody gets their moment in the spotlight. So 2 to 3 weeks. Tips and tricks, getting into the fun part. We talked about this already, but I will repeat it again. Make sure that you have an approved bump board. We've had a few situations where it wasn't an approved bump board, and it was clearly a master angler length, beautiful fish, but they've had to be denied because, you know, we've talked about the bump boards and what the list of approved ones, and somehow they slip in there, and I unfortunately have to deny it, and it really breaks my heart. It's not something I really like to do. But you know, we're trying to present the rules to you guys so that you are aware. And so if that happens, just know that the fish will unfortunately be denied, and that's a bummer. Make sure the fish is in season. We talked about that. Make sure the entire fish is visible on the bump board. I do have some examples of what you'll see, but sometimes I'll get pictures of just the tail, or you know, where it's not the entire fish. I mean, you know, use your imagination or your thought process of, if you were in my position trying to verify a length and you got a picture of just a tail on a bump board, do you really know that the fish is that length, or did they just put a tail? And I'm not insinuating that anybody would do that, but you know, I really need to be able to see the full picture, like not just a tail or whatnot. So help me out, please. Make sure the mouth is closed. We talked about that. And we also talked about for fish longer than your bump board. So those are just some helpful tricks of making sure that your submission is a success.
And Steph is totally true on, we do not like denying fish. It's not fun to do. So we even ask each other.
Oh, sure. I said, what do you think about this one? I'm like, I'm really caught. I'm torn. And this one might be like right there on the cusp. And so, you know, we'll go around to board members and ask for opinions before we completely deny something, because it's not something that we like to do. So here we have a couple of examples. I did prep Nick a little bit for this, but we're going to talk about just some examples, and I'm not calling anybody out in particular, so leave it at that. Here's one example of a fish that is, well, back then it was on the right bump board, but now it would not be on the right bump board, solely because of the fact that it is retractable, meaning it's expandable. It can, well, get larger, if you will. But in this particular instance, it wasn't fully retracted. And so while the measurement tail shows, I believe, at like 27, the problem is that because it wasn't fully expanded, there were 8 inches in the middle that were missing. So it was not a master angler walleye at 26 inches. It was like an 18-inch fish. So that is the reason why this one was denied.
Yeah. And, you know, we do accept that bump board, like in the tournaments and stuff, but we'll only accept it to the end of that first part of the bump board. Yeah. So whatever, I don't even know what it goes to, but yeah.
Yeah. It's just, and again, no malintent by anybody trying to deceive us. It's just, it can happen. And in the moment of catching the fish and trying to, you know, photo it and get it back on the water, it's just possible it won't be fully extended. So we just this is why. So there's example 1. Example 2. This is what I was referring to when I get some pictures of just the tail. I mean, I don't doubt that it was a master angler length, but I am completely unable to verify this because I don't have the whole picture. So please make sure I can see the entire fish. Next one. Let's see if Nick can figure out why this one was denied.
Well, it's a wonderful bass. I mean, you got over 20 inches, but when you look at the mouth, we're gonna take off an inch, so then you're gonna be down under that 20-inch mark. So make sure I always say shove that mouth all the way up to the board and shut that mouth. So don't cover the whole fish's mouth when you shut the mouth. Make it so we can at least see it, but keep it shut.
Absolutely. And that's exactly correct. If you look at the end of the tail, you can see that it's measuring at roughly 20 and a half. And I'm sure with the mouth closed, it would have been still over a 20-inch bass. But because of that 1-inch penalty, if you take 20 and a half minus 1, you are now at 19 and a half, which means it's not a master angler. And my doorbell just rang, but I'm just going to ignore it. So excuse my dog barking.
Mabel was letting you know.
She's a good protective dog. Good Mabel. All right. I think is this my last example? Let's see. It might be. Nope. Yep. Nope, it's not. Okay. Next one. As you can see here, this is a really nice sturgeon that was caught. Nose is perfectly up on the bump board. Great job on that. But unfortunately, the tape measure was started at the end of the bump board and not at the 90 degree. And so I'm sure that the measurement was similar and close, but in order for us to make sure that it is 100% matching up, we need the start of the tape measure to start at the 90 degree by the mouth and run the entire length of that bump board and beyond, so that way we can verify what the actual length is.
Beautiful fish. I don't ever want to catch one. I just think they're ugly and
They're
scary.
dinosaurs. I think they're so cool.
Oh, I know they're dinosaurs, but not on my bucket list.
Fair enough. It's not for everybody. All right. My mother-in-law is here. Give me 1 second, guys. Nick, have fun.
So as you can see, this is a catfish, but the only way I could see that, because I can see a whisker coming out, but you shouldn't, take your picture at an angle like that. You should be actually over it. And also the hand is covering the mouth. So really that hand could be deceiving and taking off an inch or two, because we can't even see the mouth hitting the bump board. So yeah, you're making sure that it's up, but you also have to move your hand back some. So it would have been a beautiful master angler, but we're unable to verify that it's actually hitting the top of it. So, and like I said, we're not out to have fun denying fish and stuff like that. So we're just doing this to educate you so you can get your master anglers, or you could do good in the Wham Slam or something like that. So, if you really have questions, we're here.
Absolutely.
We went over the catfish, and that you should make it that, you can see the mouth and seeing it hit the bump board.
Oh,
so
you advance it. Got it. Thank you. Oh, you did so good while I was gone. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I forgot that I was supposed to put a Twins jersey out for my mother-in-law. She's a teacher, and I guess tomorrow was sports day, and I was supposed to leave it on the porch. So
whoops.
That. Yeah. Whoops. Okay. Yeah. So catfish can't see the mouth, makes it really difficult for us. So you can certainly use your hands to close the mouth, but just make sure it's not covering and that we can see.
Yep.
All right. Moving on to some frequently asked questions. Most of this stuff is all things that you guys know, but again, for your newbies or in case there is any confusion, I just wanted to put some frequently asked questions out there. Can I submit a fish of the same species if I have already submitted one this year? No. So if you get a master angler sunfish in the season, later in the season, you get another master angler sunfish, and you're like, yay, me, which is congratulations. That's amazing that you can catch multiples. I can't catch one to save my life. So good for you. But one species per season. The only exception would be is that if you're breaking a club record. If you go to our website, you will see that there is a list of what the club records are. So if you catch a 10-inch sunfish, you get your master angler pin, and then you catch a 14-inch sunfish and you go, holy crap, nobody's ever caught a 14-inch sunfish. That's the record. Then yes, you would submit that, and then we'll do a new club record. So that's the only exception of when you would submit a second one in the same season. Can I pinch the tail? Absolutely. Do it. No shame in that game. Do it. If it gets you there, and the mouth is closed and on the 90-degree angle, go for it. Not a problem. Can I use my hands to hold the mouth closed? I had one angler, bless her heart. She didn't know that she was allowed to touch the bump board. And so she was taking pictures without touching it. And she's like, I can't get the mouth closed and I can't pitch the tail. I'm like, use your hands. It's totally acceptable to use your hands to hold it. I would recommend kind of on that gill plate. I think that, Nick, you've talked about this before, since you don't want to cover the mouth, but you kind of gently hold it on the gill plate to keep it in place and pinch that tail, or, use your fingers to close the mouth. It's certainly acceptable to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think the hardest fish for me would be the pike or the muskie, because their mouths, they always pretty much have that bottom jaw that's very much pointed further than the other one.
I think trout are hard. Trout's mouths don't naturally really want to close. So I definitely have seen people that have held it closed. So not a problem. Please feel free to use your hands. Not a problem. Do all the fish have to be caught in Minnesota? Absolutely not. We've got people who have caught master anglers in Florida, Iowa, Canada, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin, you name it. So no, a fish qualifying for a master angler does not have to be caught in Minnesota. So go wherever the wind takes you, my friends. I caught a MA fish last year, but I forgot to submit it. Can I still submit it? Unfortunately, no. In order to keep up with the program, and because there are implicating factors of angler of the year and whatnot, we really request and require actually that the fish must be submitted within 30 days of catch. So if you've caught a master angler and you know that you are wanting to submit it, just make sure you get it in as soon as possible, and then you don't have to worry about it. Makes it easy. And then, of course, the most fun part of all is, what do I get for submitting a qualified master angler fish? Yay. Everybody loves pins galore. You will get a species specific pin. So I put some examples there. Smallie, crappie, sauger. We do have some cases where there are probably, I don't know, like 7 or 8 different types of trout. It doesn't specify to the variety of species, if you will, brown trout, rainbow trout. So you will get a trout pin, or like bass. I think largemouth is just bass, and I think white bass is also bass. But I think we have a rock bass pin specific, because we catch a lot of those rock bass that are my favorite fish ever. And smallie. So I just throwing it out there that occasionally, we just don't have an actual for every single species, but sometimes it's more of like the family, if you will.
And the pins are nice, as we're hoping, like if you're coming to open water, to maybe bring your pins and put them on your lanyard and stuff, Then you have something to talk about with somebody.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I know, and some people want to make shadow boxes. Or they might put it, like they might take a picture of their hero photo, right, of them holding the fish, and they might put their pin up there with it. So lots of fun things to do. And then outside of that, once you've submitted 6 qualifying master anglers and you've received 6 pins, and it's not just in the one season, it's the lifetime of your membership. I think it took me 3 seasons before I had 6 master anglers. So just a lifetime of your membership. Once you've gotten 6 or more, then you will get a necklace handmade by yours truly. And there's a little example. It's got state of Minnesota on it. It has a wham charm, a little fish hook, and then of course a fish because we're a fishing club. Seems appropriate.
It does. I wouldn't put a chicken on there.
That would not be appropriate. And then I believe last but not least here, what else are Master Angler submissions used for? Recently, we announced our Angler of the Year. Congratulations, Renee Bettenberg. We announced our Specialist of the Year is Elena Mathis, and we announced our Rookie of the Year is Amy Schultz. The Master Angler program is what drives those awards. So at the end of the season, I tally based on the number of Master Anglers caught within that season. And you'll see here that Angler of the Year is calculated by that core category. So the core category is sunfish, crappie, large and smallmouth bass, muskie, pike, walleye, and perch. Those are our core fish. So Angler of the Year is by the most core fish caught. And then they get to additionally add up to three fish, either from the specialty or rough category. That's what the Angler of the Year is. The Specialist of the Year is going to be master anglers that are only from the specialty or rough category. And there's no limit on those, just the most specialty or rough category fish is what calculates the Specialist of the Year. And then last but not least, Rookie of the Year is calculated by the number of master anglers. It doesn't matter if it's core, specialty, or rough, just a number. And your rookie year is defined as your first year being a member of WHAM. And again, that season runs from April 1st through March 31st, and that is your rookie year. So for all of you newbies out there, you're 1 month into your new season, go get them, get it started. And at the end of the year, usually open water, we do our presentation. They all get really fun, beautiful plaques. And the Angler of the Year gets a nice customized jacket just for them. So if you're going to open water tournament, you'll get to see that presentation for Renee Bettenberg.
I learned something new today.
Oh, what's that?
Well, I didn't know how Angler of the Year or Specialist of the Year or any of that is. So, I've been in WHAM for 8 years now.
Well, then you just fulfilled one of my mantra in life is every single day I must learn something new. And so I don't think I've learned anything today yet, but the day is still young, so it will happen. But you just accomplished that. So I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you for educating me.
Absolutely. And I know that this live stream did not provide the opportunity for people to leave comments, but as always, if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me on Facebook. My email address is on the website. You can email me anytime. I do my best to get back to you as soon as I can, and I'm pretty darn friendly, I think, myself. I mean, I hope so. So feel free. No question is a stupid question. Just reach out to me, and I am here to encourage and to celebrate all of you beautiful ladies and the beautiful fish that you catch. So WHAM on.
Yeah, and myself and Shantae, the tournament directors, bring your questions on and stuff because we want to see you succeed. So no dumb question.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Nick, for
thank
joining
you.
me. And I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. You guys are going to keep me busy. I can just feel it.
Yeah, come to open water, everybody.
Yeah, we distribute those pins and those necklaces at our in-person events. So if you have any pins or Master Angler pins that you're waiting to get, make sure you attend our events and you'll be able to pick those up there.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.